Hello, my name's Andy and welcome to the garage.
Hello, today I'm going to show you how I do my simple number plates, signage, etc. Firstly, hardware you need a computer set up obviously and a printer. The computer needs to be able to run Windows 10 and Microsoft applications, which are quite common. Windows 10 is free at the moment. And I use a Brother inkjet printer which is a combined scanner. You don't need the scanner, but it might help you later on. Onto the software. I use Microsoft Excel, which I'm going to demonstrate here today. It's exactly the same in Microsoft Word. Sometimes I use Microsoft PowerPoint. I always use Snippet tool, and sometimes I use Microsoft Paint. Inkjets and laserjets use different decal paper, so be aware when buying. It's normally clearly marked like this, laserjet or inkjet. Further to that, there are two types of paper to choose from: white decal paper and clear decal paper. You need white normally if you're putting your decals on anything but a white model, otherwise the colours become distorted. There's little variations on that. Black on clear paper goes onto any colour model and is still black. You can also use sticky back paper like matte vinyl, matte gloss, etc. I'm not promoting any brand here, these are just screenshots that I took to show you what's available. So, how do I do my simple number plates? Well, get to the top there. So you can see these are some of the models I've done. This is a small Lesney E-Type Jaguar that's got this number plate 9023DU. My transit van had D417 FMC, Dinky number 417, Ford Motor Company. My Aston Martin, I think they were DB4s, had a private number plate, which is off one of my old cars. The race truck I did had the same number plate as the Jag, and more recently the Overfinch Range Rover I did, Safari Range Rover, that had a number plate and it had the Overfinch sign, which I'll show you how to do. So the first thing you need to do is type your number plate in to Word or Excel. Nothing difficult there, everybody knows how to do that. I normally change the font. Let's just change that there so you can see this working, to Arial Black, and there it is. Let me just show you. Just drop down, Arial Black, and I normally start about number 9. 8 or 9 is okay for the small Leslies. It isn't crucial you get it right at this moment, because we're going to be able to resize these later. Inkjets really struggle to print anything smaller in enough detail than on this small Lesney on the right. That number plate is as small as you'll probably be able to go. What I tend to do then is I put a box around my number plate. So there it is, I've typed it, I've changed the font, I'll show you that again, and then you just choose drop down, outside borders. That helps immensely when you're cutting later. And the other thing to do is just center it. You can center it top and bottom in the middle of each cell. Then you end up with something like this. What you might need to do is give yourself a bit of flexibility. So make the number plates wider than they're going to be. And you can do that now by just widening your cell like that. That means you can cut your number plate out round the squares later on and cut it vertically down to size. Now you can see these number plates are different on the right. These older cars in the UK pre-73, I think the plates came out a bit earlier. You had a black backed number plate with a silver stroke grey lettering. So what you can do, and I'll demonstrate on this one here, is you can go to lettering and choose a grey. Might take a few goes before you get the right one, and then you can choose a background. Then that will print like these number plates over here on the right. Post 73, obviously you have a white number plate at the front and a yellow at the back, and what you do, you just choose the yellow background, and that's the difference between doing them. You've now got 3 number plates there ready for copying. Equally so, I'll just show you how I copy those. I'll get rid of, that's one set I've copied earlier to show you. So you just go into Snipping tool and you say new, you go around your number plate, you go copy, and your number plate's there, an exact size and copy of it. You can also do words like this Overfinch manufacturer sign here, and all I did was type in Overfinch. What I did do afterwards, because I realised it didn't look right, I just put a space between each word, each letter rather, and I probably changed that to Arial black. I probably widened my cell so it fitted. I did what I showed you before, centered it, and I would have printed that like that, cut it out around the box later, and it went over yellow and it was perfect. Equally so, you can do motorway services, you just type it in. Obviously I've just widened that column to accommodate the Overfinch sign. You could do motorway services, that's going to come out like the number plate, and I did that on my transit van here on the sides. Equally so, if you wanted those two for a bit later, you can just do that again and it's fine. What is a good idea to do is, when you're doing this, is to hide the grid lines in Excel, so that when you do the copying, if you watch, you don't get the grid lines, which is quite important later. But you can do it with the grid lines. It doesn't make a great deal of difference normally. So there we have a set of number plates, and I'm just going to copy that, what is now a picture really. And you can see that I can copy and paste them using just a normal copy and paste at the top. Now the benefit of using Snippet tool to copy those is that you can resize them, because obviously they're going to be too big. So if you get the corner, left click down, you can just zoom them in and out, make them as big or as small as you want. Sometimes it's helpful if you have a ruler and you've resized it to the screen so it's the right size, and you can just get an idea, like that's about 14 millimeters, and that's going to be about that. The way I resize this is I'd print this screen and against a natural ruler I'd get this correct. If it was a bit long or a bit short, I'd just move it in and out until it was about right. It's a guide only. It is a guide only. And there you can see some on the right that I've already done while I was getting this video ready. I've mixed and matched them together. Now what you might want to do is do various sizes if you're not quite sure how close you're going to get. Let's move on to printing. So here's our 3 number plates, and you can see there's our copy of number plates, etc. And you can see I've copied in a load more now, and you can see how easy it is to duplicate them once you've got them set up. So printing, what I do is I highlight the area to be printed. Let me get rid of these rulers. Now my printer normally goes down to about 55 or something, but just highlight it. I'll sometimes just type this is going to be on white paper, and I go File, Print. Now I don't want the active sheets, I only want the selection, and there you can see it on the right. I have custom margins, which you can see there is almost no margins at all. The scaling is actual, and then I would print that. But firstly, I'll print it on plain paper. I may print it in black and white or colour and at normal strength, normal quality. So that's my printing, and this is down the side here. Only print the selection, minimise the margins, and no scaling. And that's just a bit of detail. And you can see the preview sheet that you saw on the right. Just going over what I've reiterated. Print on plain, cheap paper. I use some blue paper that got really cheap. I often print it first in black and white or grayscale, as long as the detail's good enough for you to do the sizing. Because what I do is I check the size of the decals by cutting them out and trying them on the model. This may take a couple of goes of printing. I turn the paper over and reuse it, and each time, if it's just a bit smaller, I'll just do that. And once I've got one spot on like that, that's when I'll start copying it and get ready to print a big sheet. As I just said, you could have used an on-screen ruler as well. I've only recently started doing that, and to be honest, I'm a lot quicker without it. Once you've got your print, you've cut them out and everything's ready, you can go for the final print. Now on my Brother printer, I have to choose other photo paper, best quality and colour. I don't normally choose vivid. I get a message to say I'm using the highest resolution possible for printing, which is what you want. It's a bit slower, but you do need that. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to read those smaller decals, etc. They're going to be just disappearing. So that's the printing. I may do a final print once I've done all of this copying to check everything's right, nothing's moved. I always print then from the same square. You can see here it's telling me that's a full scale of my print area, so I could get another few number plates in just like that, just copy and pasting them in. Highlight it, file, print. You should remember after you've done it once, only print the selection. You'll remember your settings, no scaling, print it and have a final check that all those number plates, etc. are the right size for your model. print on white or clear decal paper, as I've said. If you're putting onto a model that is not painted white, you will need to print onto white paper unless you are just printing black lettering. Everything else, the colour will be distorted. And I'm just doing a model of a Mustang, Zaxby Mustang, and I'm doing it in 2 different colours to show you that. That'll be one of my up and coming videos. Once the ink's dry, and it takes a while to dry, you need to give that printout on that decal paper at least 2 coats of clear lacquer and maybe 3. If you don't do that with an inkjet print, the ink will just run everywhere. It'll be a mess. This is just a screenshot to show clear lacquer, any clear lacquer. This in actual fact is the one I use. It's not an expensive one and it seems to be ideal. Now cutting, you've got to cut your decals out. If you've lined them all up correctly, you can just use a ruler and a knife to cut along them. If they're small, you can get away with a pair of scissors. Obviously if the decals were round, you're going to have to use scissors. But relatively easy to cut out. It's easier with the boxes. It makes it so much easier. You're just cutting along the line. Couldn't be easier. You don't actually want the box normally to show, so you're cutting around it. What I found was, and maybe it's my eyesight or colour blindness, cutting along the line of a decal like this without the border is very difficult. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this video. That's how I do the simple decals like this, the number plates. I will be exploring further into other techniques I've discovered and learnt on how to print 2D lettering, 3D lettering, copying things like the Marlboro logo, etc. And that will be in another video to follow shortly. So thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2024, so please do so.